Welcome back my gentle people, this is Corner Stories and today we have two stories and they both have updates. So let's get into it. Me and my ex, Dana, have been together for 7 years and I knew that she was bisexual at the beginning. She openly told me about her past relationships with girls, but I never cared because it wasn't a problem at all. We never had any big fights or arguments, but just small things, and we always sorted out everything. So after 7 years of our relationship, I decided that it was the right moment to take the leap because we were deeply in love, financially stable and already living together, so for me it was the right time. I prepared everything to make it more romantic and unique as I could, and when I popped the question she hesitated but then said yes. This is where the problem started because I didn't understand why she hesitated and I asked her, but she only replied, "I was nervous, so I gave up." We told her parents about our engagement. I lost my parents and sister some years back in a car accident, and we told our friends, but even here some things were off. Because I felt like her parents were faking being happy about the engagement and I didn't understand why. While our friends were super happy and were already telling us ideas for our wedding. 4 months passed by and we were planning our wedding when the day came up. I came back home from work and she was waiting for me with her bags ready and I asked her what was going on. She told me, "Listen, I know that this is gonna be hard for you, but I'm not bi, I'm a lesbian. My parents knew this since 2 years ago and this is why they weren't happy and were faking it. Please, I beg you to not make it difficult and just let me leave. Don't cry, don't beg me and don't scream, let's just let things go like adults," and then she drove away. I was standing there on my feet for like 1 hour in shock cause I couldn't believe it. We got engaged, then everything changed. She just confessed and left so coldly, as if the last 7 years were nothing to her, as if I was no one to her. The worst part about all of this is that I was left to cancel all our wedding plans, and over the next few months my friends basically ghosted me. Literally no one ever texted me or called me asking me how I was, if I was fine, if I needed something, just nothing. Not her parents, not her, she blocked me that day, and not even our friends. No one gives a f about me at all. In these 3 months I was hospitalized 3 times cause I lost weight, 15 kilograms, and have insomnia. I just work and come home, nothing else. While everyone is praising her for her coming out, how good she is to finally realize she was lesbian, and her courage to be herself after years of fighting to find her true identity. Right now I'm not even capable of being mad, I'm just in disbelief for what happened, how fast it all happened, and that no one gives a f about me because her coming out is more important than her breaking my heart so coldly. Update: so here we go again, but this time is more painful and shocking at the same time cause today and yesterday night a lot happened. Like some of you folks said, more was going on behind the scenes than I knew about. One of my ex-friends saw my post on TikTok and the absolute mess started and is still going on right now. This ex-friend, I will call him Paul, reached out to me and basically told me that he saw the post and knew that it was me cause I used my ex real name, Dana, and was shocked to know what really happened cause apparently, Dana told my ex-friends that she came out to me as a lesbian and I tried to lay hands on her and threatened her and she told them to not contact me again. They all believed her, but then when they all saw my post they started pressuring her if my post was saying the truth or not, and she admitted the lie. Since Paul's text I received a ton of texts and calls from everyone asking me how I'm doing, if I'm fine. They are sorry for believing Dana and not texting me first and saying they are sorry. But then there is the real issue, Dana. She texted me asking to forgive her, that she was sorry for how bad she treated me and admitting that she invented all those lies about me getting violent cause she was afraid to lose our shared friends. And this mess just continues because unfortunately, I got a text from her girlfriend, Mary, and basically she told me that she is sorry for Dana's behavior and for what she did, and, here comes the issue, that she knew Dana since a year and she never told her about me but always talked to her about me like a roommate, so she was thinking of leaving Dana. Now comes my part cause I made a new group including them all, even Dana and Mary, and told them that I'm not changing my mind about forgiving them. I was thinking of suing Dana, and if they, my ex-friends, were decent humans they would have texted me asking me if I was out of my mind to lay hands on Dana, or just insult me via texts if they really thought I could be dangerous. Then I added some personal things about Dana and blocked them all. My blocking method isn't working cause they are continuing to harass me with texts and calls from other numbers and even making other people call me and texting me. Crazy shit is happening and I really still can't believe all this mess cause I'm thinking that it's all a nightmare and I need to wake up. Then the other thing is that finally I saw a therapist today, a few hours ago, and I don't like to admit it but I cried a lot cause for her, the therapist. I never worked on my parents and my sister's death, and then this thing with my ex added making me explode, so it's gonna be a very long journey and I hope to reach a point. I already had the number of the therapist there on my table in the kitchen but never called, but this time I did and hopefully it will help. So this is all and I hope to update you not so quickly like now but when I will feel better. So again, thank you all, and hopefully, I will update you in better times. Story 2. My wife and I have known each other for 10 years, and got married in 2018. We have very different lifestyles. She's a very devout Mormon and I am not religious. We found some way to make it work. It was a hard road, but there are some challenges still, but we love each other very much. She has never met my biological mother. My parents were divorced long before I met her, and I broke contact with my mom after I turned 18. My mom was extremely abusive towards me growing up. She physically abused me and my sister regularly and tried to frame it on my father. She was able to manipulate a doctor to give me multiple medications growing up, and she'd steal the meds. Her dirt boyfriend also tried to be abusive to me too. I cut my losses and cut all contact with my mother and her family. So did my sister. My parents, dad and stepmom, didn't approve of my wife at first because of her religion, but they get along now. When my wife asked me when she'd meet my mom, I told her she never would. She's a violent and terrible woman and she has no place in my life and I didn't want her involved in ours. I also told her not to contact anyone in my mom's family. Recently, my mom showed up at my work, which she had no knowledge of. It got ugly, and police had to be called to remove her from the property. It was such an embarrassment. When I got home, I told my wife, and she just had her "oh shit" look on her face. I asked what that was about. She confessed she reached out to my mom and told her where I worked because my mom wanted to make amends. My wife's beliefs are that everyone deserves forgiveness and doesn't believe something could be unforgivable. I told her that violated the one thing I told her was out of bounds and didn't even tell me until shit hit the fan. She of course has been apologetic. I told her we'd get there, but I needed to get through it. I've been sleeping in the office at home, and we've barely spoken since. We are supposed to travel to her parents for Thanksgiving, but I'm really considering staying home with the dogs so I can sort myself out. I'm not sure how to get over this. Edit, added that she's met my stepmom. She's also fully aware of what my mom did to us. Update, I appreciate the support of those who messaged me, as well as those curious what happened. I didn't expect this to blow up. I'll give an update in chronological order, but trigger warning. Details about childhood abuse is mentioned. The original post is the only other post on my profile. Get this out of the way. Mom was served with a restraining order. She can't go on my work property and I suffered no issues at work because of what happened. Leading up to Thanksgiving, my wife and I sat down to talk. I said I wasn't gonna go to her parents for the holiday and I think it would be best if we had some time apart. She was upset and scared cause she has bad anxiety when she travels far alone. So her sister agreed to travel with her. But in this conversation, I asked to see the messages between her and my mom. My mom had bothered her for months with messages on Facebook asking how I was doing, if I was alive, and saying she doesn't get to hear from her son, etc. That part is what got my wife to reply with an update on everything. She mentioned what I did at my work and named the place. Which there's only one location in our city. I knew she had been reached out to, as me, my sister and her husband all had. But I didn't know she was constantly harassing my wife like that. Which, in the time between my mom showing up and this conversation, my mom sent several messages accusing her of setting her up, keeping her son from her, and those very pleasant messages. She went to her parents' place. I made burgers and hung out with the dogs on Thanksgiving. I went over to my dad's that Friday while everyone there was out doing Black Friday things. We hung up the Christmas lights and I told him what happened. Oddly, my dad didn't have much to say. He asked what I was gonna do. I asked him for a specific file he had and I told him I'd show her the file. Wife comes home after almost week, and the day after, I sit her down and we have a conversation and I pull out the file. She clearly didn't intend what happened, but she asked if I was divorcing her. I said no, but she needed to have told me what happened and/or blocked her. If she had insisted on messaging my mom, I should have been involved to make a more generic message. At this point I opened the file, put it in front of her, and she went completely pale. In the file were the pictures of me the night my mom gave up custody. What happened was, we got into a fight over my grades in junior high. My mom started hitting me repeatedly, to the point where her nails had started to cut my face. At this point, I was big enough to stop her. I caught her wrist and I twisted it enough to where she stopped and ran out of the house. The police were called cause my mom said I broke her wrist. I didn't. My dad picked me up, took the photos of my bruised and cut face, and my mom released custody to him. A few of these cuts left scars that are still visible on my cheek and side burn area. After explaining what she was seeing, and she looked through what was in there. I told her she needed to understand she opened the door for my mom to have done this to me again. To my mom potentially doing that to her, and if we had any kids, they'd be at risk for the same abuse. 'Cause my mom hasn't changed, her messages were the master manipulator going after my innocent wife. She said she didn't know it was this bad and she didn't mean that to have happened. I said we needed to go to therapy as a non-negotiable and she agreed. I caught some heat from her parents for showing her the file. Her parents had me promise them I'd protect her and not ruin her innocent view of the world, I guess is the way to word it. She had a very slow grasp of real-world things that weren't very present in the church upbringing. Although, they actually agreed she shouldn't have responded to my mom. Which was surprising. I did some solo therapy before we did our couples therapy. She was a little upset because I was distant during the holidays. Like I wasn't there. Apparently, I had some kind of repressed or undiagnosed PTSD and I began dissociating again after that happened, and that was why I didn't seem like I was present. I feel like we are making progress. The therapist said my wife had this subconscious desire to fix things and make her perfect family because of some issues her parents had and some issues on both sides of her family. So that was likely why she responded without checking with me. We have stopped trying for a baby for now. Which she's devastated about presently cause one of my step-sisters announced she's pregnant and it really kind of hurt her cause she really wants to be a mom. We are spending time together again and sleeping in the same bed. She's tried really hard to make it up to me and she's been trying to read more about abuse and understanding those things. Which is hard for her. We tried to get things back to normal throughout Christmas and New Year's. Presently we are doing our therapy every 2 weeks and I see my therapist the weeks in between. Thinking back, showing her the file with those pictures may have been a step too far. Our therapist said it was probably a lot for her to take in. But I said it in our session and I said it the night of. She needed to completely understand what door she opened and what repercussions could have come from what she did and what could happen to our, theoretical, children if she opens that door again. I'm not sure if there was an alternative to showing her that file, but I think she understands what I really went through. Now, my wife will sometimes rub the scar lines on my face and just give me this strange look. She never questioned those scars before and she just looks at them like that sometimes. That's where we are at. I think things are salvageable, as the way things came out before, it seemed like she sought out my mom. But I think she just got played and just attempted to give my mom some peace of mind but unintentionally made a problem that she didn't understand. Thank you again for those who reached out and offered support before. Unnecessary to read but for context, the example my wife gave in therapy about me not being present was this. We have a tradition in the second week of December, we go out together, get breakfast and do our Christmas shopping. Usually at Target cause she likes getting a Starbucks hot chocolate. But as we'd go through, she'd look back at me and I was often just staring off in the distance or not really giving full answers and I admitted I didn't remember most of what we did that day. Which she was sad because that's one of the things about the holidays she most looks forward to is that day together. And that is the end of the story. That's it guys, this is where I will leave you. I hope you enjoyed the stories I had for you. I certainly enjoyed them. Please be sure to drop a like or a comment and it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be kind, be curious and I will see you. Corner Stories signing off.